Why are you alive today? Because a monster, 3 million years ago, made a fatal mistake. Standing at a full 4 meters tall, weighing over 500 kilograms, it could crush a human with a single hand. Scientists examining the gaps between its fossilized teeth found hairs belonging to our ancestors. What does this tell you? Your ancient ancestors were once its prey, even more terrifying. It wasn't a dinosaur, it was an ape, sharing 96 fontarum of your DNA. In other words, it was your distant relative. And your distant relative once viewed your ancestors as a snack? But that's not the most chilling part. A 2023 study reveals this monster wasn't wiped out by humans, but was forced into a dead end by a catastrophe it couldn't even comprehend, eventually starving to death, paleontologists say. If it had made the right choice back then, the species at the top of the food chain today would not be humanity. This monster is known as Gigantopithecus blacki. But did you know? Before science officially recognized it, Chinese villagers had already ground its bones into powder, using it as medicine for centuries. They called it dragon bones longu, believing it could cure any illness. Pharmacies sold it by the kilogram. In 1935, German paleontologist G.H.R. von Koenigswald walked into a pharmacy in Hong Kong. As he casually looked through the dragon bones on the counter, his hands suddenly froze. He picked up 2 teeth, held them up to the light, and saw that each one was almost as big as a hen's egg. Having studied paleontology for 20 years, he had never seen such a thing. He made a quick calculation. Based on the proportions, this creature stood at least 3 meters tall. Von Koenigswald's hands began to tremble. He bought the 2 teeth and hurried out of the shop. Unsure of what he had truly discovered, but he was certain of one thing. This was a species never before named on Earth. Yet, fate played a cruel joke. On this discovery, years later, World War II broke out, and von Koenigswald was captured by the Japanese in Indonesia. He was thrown into a prison or a war camp, and he couldn't bring the teeth inside. His wife made a desperate decision. She hid the teeth in a glass baby bottle and buried them in a friend's garden in the dead of night. For 3 whole years, this evidence that would rewrite natural history lay in the dirt, keeping company with earthworms. After the war ended, von Koenigswald dug them up and brought them to the United States, officially naming the species Gigantopithecus blacki. But 2 teeth were far from enough. The real treasure was hidden in the deep caves of Guangxi, China. Waiting for an ordinary farmer's hoe in 1956, in Chonzu, Guangxi, a farmer named Tan Shuhua entered a cave to collect bat guano for fertilizer. His hoe suddenly struck something hard. He dug away the soil and found a massive, dark jawbone. Once the news broke, the paleontological world exploded. Scientists swarmed in and turned the cave upside down. They excavated over 1,000 Gigantopithecus teeth. That cave later received a powerful name, Gigantopithecus Cave. But here's the strange part. As years went by, all archaeological digs worldwide combined have yielded less than 2,000 Gigantopithecus teeth, and for jawbone fragments. No skulls, no spines, no limbs, not a single complete skeleton. What does this mean? It means those Gigantopithecus reconstructions you see in documentaries, those massive, dark, hairy behemoths, are actually just scientists using math models to fill in the blanks from a pile of teeth. What it actually looked like, no living person has ever seen. We can be certain of only one thing: it was incredibly massive. Conservatively estimated at 2.6 meters tall, weighing nearly 300 kilograms. With some estimates reaching 3 meters tall and over 500 kilograms. No matter the exact number, one thing is certain: Gigantopithecus was, in the 4.6 billion year history of Earth, the largest primate to ever exist. Bar none. However, there is a twist that no one expected. This monster, which could crush an adult human with ease, loved nothing more than chewing bamboo all day long. Scientists analyzed the isotopes in its teeth, and the conclusion was clear. It was an absolute herbivore. Bamboo, wild fruits, and tender leaves were its entire diet. A creature capable of killing a tiger with one blow. Sat peacefully in the bamboo forest, eating greens every day. But don't let that image fool you. Male Gigantopithecus had much thicker canines than females, indicating intense competition among males. An enraged male could, in a matter of seconds, completely destroy anything that came near it, your ancestors. Living alongside such creatures, survived for nearly 1.5 million years. Imagine the scene. A group of 1.5-meter-tall Homo erectus, cautiously foraging in the bamboo forest. The shrubs in front suddenly shake violently, and a 3-meter-tall shadow slowly rises up. In that moment, there is no time to think. Their brains issue only one command: run. Those who reacted slowly, those who lingered in hope, did not pass on their genes only. Those whose hearts raced at the sight of the shadow and turned to run, survived long enough to reproduce, etching this fear into their DNA, passing it down to you through the generations. So, when your heart inexplicably starts racing in the dark today, it's not because you're a coward. It's because your ancestors were lucky, however. The species that dominated the Earth for 2 million years eventually vanished. It disappeared without a sound, without any witnesses, cleanly and completely. What exactly happened? In January 2024, Nature magazine published the most authoritative research to date. Scientists spent 10 years extracting 157 samples from 22 caves in southern China, repeatedly verifying them with 6 different dating techniques, and finally pinpointing the extinction window for Gigantopithecus. It occurred between 295,000 and 215,000 years ago. Many people's first reaction is, did humans do it? Not at that point in time. Homo sapiens were still in Africa, not having taken a single step into East Asia. The real culprit was climate, and the Gigantopithecus itself. 2 million years ago, Southeast Asia was a warm, humid tropical rainforest, full of the fruit trees and bamboo that the Gigantopithecus loved. That was its paradise. But about 700,000 years ago, the climate began to change quietly. It wasn't a volcanic eruption, nor a meteor strike, but the kind of slow, almost imperceptible change. The rainforest shrank bit by bit. Grasslands quietly expanded. Fruit trees became fewer, and bamboo became increasingly scarce. At that moment, fate presented 2 paths. Two different species. Living in the same forest was a close relative. The Pongo orangutan ancestor, the predecessor of today's orangutans. Faced with the same food crisis, it made a choice that seemed humiliating. It started eating tree bark, gnawing on roots, and consuming things with extremely low nutritional value and poor taste. It reduced its body size, traveled further, and ate a more varied diet. It survived. Today, its descendants are still thriving in the jungles of Borneo. But Gigantopithecus chose a different path. Scientists analyzed its tooth enamel from the final stages before its extinction and read a chilling set of data. The onsetiverse chemical signatures of its food became extremely singular toward the end of its life. It didn't try unfamiliar plants, didn't expand its foraging range, and didn't reduce its nutritional needs. It just sat where it was, waiting for the food to diminish day by day. 2 million years of success became the coffin lid that buried it. Malnutrition led to a decline in reproductive rates. Cubs died one after another, and the population entered an irreversible death spiral. The day the last Gigantopithecus fell, no living creature witnessed it. The most powerful primate on Earth, just like that, vanished into the cracks of history without a sound. It might not have understood what defeated it, even as it died. But the answer is actually simple. What killed it wasn't a natural predator, wasn't humans, and wasn't a natural disaster. It was the very lifestyle it had built. Over 2 million years, when the era turned a corner, that lifestyle led it straight to its doom. Strength is never a guarantee of survival. The ability to adapt and bend is, and this story has one more tale that sends chills down your spine. Have you ever wondered why primitive tribes all over the world have legends of giants living in the forest? North America has Bigfoot. The Himalayas have the Yeti. China has the wild man of Shenanjia. Why do these cultures, separated by thousands of miles in different languages, describe the same thing? Some scientists believe the origin of these legends is the Gigantopithecus. Our ancestors coexisted with it for 1.5 million years. The fear of being stared at by a 3-meter-tall shadow in the darkness is no longer a memory, but instinct. Carved into our genes, with every generation of reproduction, it was passed down, all the way to you. Gigantopithecus has been gone for nearly 300,000 years, but the shadow it left in human DNA has yet to fade away. So, returning to the question at the very beginning, why are you alive? Because your ancestors learned something. That Gigantopithecus never learned before it died, before the crisis arrives. Bend down, turn around, and head down a path never taken before. Those who couldn't bend remained in the fossils. Those who could bend became you.